What is going on, guys? It is God Hex, and today we are hanging out in the beautiful Sanctuary Oasis. We are going to be talking about this Holy Archer build that I've set up. Pretty much, it's going to be used for, I would suggest, honestly, you can use it for any content, PvE, PvP, it's going to be useful. But where it really shines is keeping groups together, keeping them alive, making sure people are not dying. You're gonna have single target heals, you're gonna have AoE heals, and you're gonna have shields, and then you're also gonna have sustainability, just so that people are gonna have preventative damage as well. So as you guys know, I used to play the First Ascendant a lot, and I love to play healer. So of course, in throwing in Liberty, I'm doing the same thing as well. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, I've watched a lot of builds, and I'm not gonna make this complicated for you guys. So you can go ahead and just look at my skills and compare it to your skill bar or whatever, copy pretty much what I have here. Just to give a breakdown of the skills before we go into rotations and things like that. This is a longbow wand build, which is the best healer, best support in the game, honestly. And I can still dish out some pretty good DPS, as you'll see with some of my PvP clips as well. In terms of like bow skills, this is going to be something that you're going to want to be doing as a setup once you hit 50. But if I'm being honest with you, whenever it comes to early level, for anybody that's watching this at an early level, for the active skills, defense skills, go ahead and take this chaotic shield, because as you see, you'll restore a friendly target's health by 385% if you max it out, or keep on leveling it up like I have. It's a good one to have because you're going to be a healer. You're not really going to be focused too much on damage. Whenever it comes to the skills you want to prioritize, whenever it comes to damaging, as you can see on my skill bar, you definitely want to make sure that you have Zephyr's Knock. Ensnaring Arrow is really good for CCing and just keeping people locked down. Decisive Sniping is really good too as well, especially when you get the ability that lets you charge it up, and then you can dish out some pretty good damage as well. Strafing is really good too, especially when you get the spec that lets you shoot multiple times. This right here, it's like mandatory no matter what. Nature's Blessing. You pop this, as you can see, it immediately removes a weaken effect, and it increases health regen and mana regen. So you'll see me use this a lot, and then I'll also throw on a heal right after, because this itself does not heal you. It increases health regeneration, right? And just to show you like how that would work, right? I would pop Nature's Blessing, and then I would throw out a bunch of heals, right? And then it increases the amount that you're going to be getting back. Early level skills for the wand, you would really want to prioritize things that have to do with healing and shield. That's it. All these other things with curses, that's not you. You're not going to be doing what you're supposed to be doing if you're taking things that are curses and stuff like that, because it's not needed, and then you can decide on your own if you want to use Invincible Wall or if you want to use Blessed Barrier. I've been told that one is better than the other, but I found that in group situations where I want everybody to have a shield, I use Invincible Wall with the spec to give it to all party members. Like I said, this is all the passives. Once you get to 50, you'll have all of these unlocked in all the slots. But early level for the passives, you definitely want to make sure that you get the Devotion and Emptiness. It increases your healing and cooldown. Duration gets decreased during the daytime. Your skill damage over time goes up, and curse skill cooldowns go down at night. You'll get access also to a lot of these you'll get access to them after you hit like level 10 to 15. But like I said, you can just copy these. This one, taking skill damage, has a 20% chance to increase healing and healing received, granting healing, recovery, and regen to allies via active skills, increase mana regen by 29.6, and healing. So this stuff is good. This is all pretty much for like allies. You're helping people out, and it also counts for you too as well. Earth's Blessing. This is a longbow passive, increases health regen by 76 and health recovery over time from skills by 27%. Rapid fire stance, this is good for damage. Remaining stationary for 2 seconds, increases attack speed by 15% and magic, melee and range hit chances by 100%. So that's good. This one is good for CCs and you keeping people still. Increases magic, melee, and range critical hit chances by 315 upon attacking bound or shackled targets. And this ability, Ensnaring Arrow, does do the shackle keeps people stuck. Sniper sense, you want to have that also too as well. Each 1 meter of distance away from the target increases magic melee and range critical hit chances by 15 and critical damage by 0.4. And it'll go up higher. It'll go up higher as you end up leveling these things up, and you get yourself a bit more powerful, right? And we're gonna go into the actual weapon mastery traits, and we'll go from there. Okay, cool. So starting with the longbow, right? This is my build. You may have seen builds where people will go into support, right? Or maybe check. I choose sniping because you don't want to be just a useless healer. It's cool to be a healer that can, and you'll see with this build, you'll dish out so many heals. People will be thanking you. People will be blessed to have you on the team. They'll be happy to have you. Like you'll make a huge difference. And you also want to be able to do damage and help out, especially when you get good gear. You'll be able to actually help out and do some pretty good damage as well. And you'll see, like I said, in PvP, you won't be getting rolled on every single time, as long as you're able to keep your sustain up. But sniping, this is a path that I'm going to go. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm going to go sniping. And then I'm also going to take some parts of support for the max health, defense, health regen. So pretty much what I'm going to end up doing is taking all of sniping and then probably most of the support path as well. If we're going to look at wand, you definitely want to make sure that you spec into recovery. As you can see, all of this stuff, you know, it's very helpful. Buff duration, mana regen, all this stuff is going to be really helpful. And then I would say after that, I would go for some of the weaken, maybe up until cooldown speed, right? I would go to cooldown speed if you can, and then get up to damage, right? Because look at all this mana regen, cooldown speed, wisdom, cooldown speed. So that would be really helpful to go into, but I would definitely start with recovery first as a skill path. Do not be overwhelmed seeing like, oh, I have purples and blues and things like that. Like do not think about that. First thing, let's look at the stat points. You want to build, I would say, first into maybe wisdom. I would say try to hit at least 30 wisdom and 30 dexterity. I only have more dexterity because, as you can see, my equipment gives me 15 dex, and that's going to help with my damage that I'm doing with my bow, because like I said, you don't want to be just a 100% healer, because yeah, you're keeping people alive, but at the same time you're not aiding in damage, and any damage that you can help with is going to be really good. So as you can see with wisdom, once you hit 40, I'm getting this from my equipment also too as well. I put 30 originally, or 26. I put 26 originally in the base, right? And my equipment gave me the rest. So I'm at 41 wisdom. As you can see, I hit that 40 mark. I have that debuff duration. I don't use debuffs, so it doesn't really matter to me, but you do get the extra mana. Perception is good if you're focusing on hit chance, but I feel like this would probably be like a third stat that I would want to focus on, maybe for range, because if your perception is high, you can shoot from further, for what I understand, and your CCs are going to land a lot better. Time boost abilities, I'm assuming maybe that has to do with buffs. I'm not 100% certain, haven't tested it out yet, but this has worked for me. If you want to be a little bit more tankier, you can decide to put more points into strength to get yourself more health. But as of right now, I think I'm sitting at almost 7k HP, and it hasn't been a problem for me at all. You know, so I haven't really been having any issues, honestly. Like I said, as you can see, you know, we've been doing pretty good even in PvP. So I'm not going to get too deep into gear, right? But I just want you guys to understand this. Gray first level gear does not matter. It does not matter. When you get your green gear, you want to make sure that you, if you can control it, get things that are going to surround mana regen, you know, maybe health regen, maybe dexterity and wisdom. Those things are going to be the most important that you want to prioritize. I'm not going to get too deep into gear because it would make this guide way too confusing, but for the most part, as you can see, this hood has 4 wisdom on it. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. It would get way too confusing if I sat here and started going into detail about the gear. But don't rush to purple gear. At least get all your gear maxed out to level, your green gear, get it maxed out to level 6, and then transfer that green gear into your blue gear and just keep that blue until you're 100% certain of the set that you want to go into for purple, and then go from there. Okay, So what I'm gonna end up doing most likely is I'm gonna show you guys some clips of just me like healing around in the dungeon, and then you'll get an idea pretty much of how your rotation will probably look like whenever you're doing PvE stuff. And then whenever it comes to PvP 1v1s, you'll do really good unless somebody outgears you, right? If someone outgears you, you're probably gonna get stomped on. But if the gear is even, there's a good chance that you're probably going to win because the sustain is really high. But I'm going to throw some clips in of some of the PvP or PvE dungeons, my bad. And then you'll see exactly how the healing goes. And then we'll go over the skill rotation for keeping your group alive.
Feel the pain. Intruders! Stop them!
Okay, so before we start this, we're gonna go over skill specializations real quick. Let's start with the bow. So I'm gonna do this so you guys can just copy pretty much what I have set up. I have Nature's Blessing, of course, at purple right now because it's the most powerful for the regen. As you can see, I got Vitality, while Nature's Blessing and Healing Touch are active. Healing Touch is gonna be this one, which gives you a it gives you a healing effect. It heals you, but the best thing that it does is that it helps whenever I'm throwing on this ability right here, Swift Healing. So I always throw on Healing Touch and then I'll throw on Swift Healing because those two working together with the short cooldown, perfect for emergency quick heals, right? You want to take this Vitality because it tremendously increases the health regen. Other people who were confused on how to unlock the Tornado ability because I did not know how to do it, it starts off as Arrow Vortex. Remember that. This ability, you get it here. It starts off as Arrow Vortex, right? And then once you spec into Tornado, then that's how you get the Tornado ability. It's super helpful. When your group is getting surrounded, you can lift a bunch of people into the air and it's super fucking helpful. You could take this if you want for more healing. Flash Wave is going to be this ability. Your big AoE arrow that burns everything and also does a heal. You could take this to where when you apply Healing Touch to somebody, someone affected by Healing Touch, that also gets hit with the party flash wave will get even more healing, but I kind of feel like that's OP, and you'll see why because of the amount of healing that we do already. Flash wave. Flash wave starts off as flash arrow. It's a cool ability. If someone's in stealth, you can unstealth them, but normally the way this looks is you would have to aim it, right? And then shoot it into the air, and then it would land on the ground. Once you change this to flash wave, that's where you get that AoE that you see people do in big like guild versus guild matches, where it's like a big wide flame that just lights everybody up. Flash wave is really, really helpful. It burns enemies, but then also at the same time, you will heal your team. So what I do is I pop Nature's Blessing first, then I use flash wave because the regeneration is absolutely insane. All right, now onto the wand skills. So if I am doing, before I go over this, I'm just going to say this. If I'm doing PvP, I will remove Invincible Wall and I will put on Cursed Nightmare with Deep Sleep and Enhanced Nightmare. It's absolutely hilarious to sleep people in the middle of your matches sometimes. You know, you can use this for sleep bombs if you wanted to build for that, but that's not your job. You're going to be healing. So I would use Cursed Nightmare for a PvP setup, but for PvE team oriented stuff, take Invincible Wall, or you can take Blessed Barrier and get the target expanded to where it goes to party members. You know, they both do different things, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but you can check and see which one you like. I like Invincible Wall because it goes to everybody. But yeah, you can look at the wand abilities. These are, like I said, you're only going to be taking the healing stuff. You're only taking the healing stuff. Swift healing, you know, that's the one that you see me throw out where I'm just, right? You see how quick that is. It is mana hungry on the third one, so just, you know, disclaimer with that. You want to take healing transfer. Additionally, restores the user's health equal to 50% of recovery. If your recovery, I think it's their recovery, so if they have good recovery, it'll be good, or maybe your recovery. Consecutive use, that's why I'm able to use it 3 times. Mana recovery is super helpful for when you have people that are low on mana. This helps aid them in getting it back quicker. Clay Salvation, that's going to be the one where it's the AoE heal, right? It's going to be that one. It's pretty good. You want the radius increase so that you can catch people that are going to be running away a little bit. Invincible Wall, this is the one I was talking about. Normally it only applies to just you. Grants a shield that absorbs damage equal to 760% of base damage plus 394 damage to an ally for 6 seconds. That's cool. I like that. When you switch it to this though, you know, it goes to everybody. There's a radius where it goes out, and then you get that barrier and it affects everyone. Right? And then this is your bread and butter right here. You want to make sure you throw this out at the beginning of every boss fight. You'll see me put this down on the boss for the tanks and the DPSs that are going to be up close, because this is going to keep them sustained and able to just stay in the fight. And then while they're fighting, I'll also throw out the Invincible Wall as well too, to kind of cover them and make sure that they still have that. But the Fountain of Life is going to be this ability. You want to take the AoE like expansion, so that, you know, when people are around, they'll be able to get into it and just get those heals, right? Look at that. And you're getting mana, you know, as you could see. So those are the abilities for skill specialization. You guys can look at this, copy that, and then we can go into the actual rotation. In terms of the rotation, pretty much, right? Like, let's pretend where my crosshair is at, that there's a boss right there. Usually whenever the fight starts, I'm already ready to put this down, and I would drop that on where the boss is and people, you know, they're fighting and things like that's going on. Then I'll pop that around the party, make sure everybody has the shield, things like that. And let's say you have a teammate that looks like he might be down a little bit of health. You can just throw out the healing touch on them, you know, just to keep them topped off or whatever. But you see the cooldown is really quick, right? 5 seconds on healing touch, and then 10 seconds on swift healing. So what you can do is, instead of wasting your Nature's Blessing, your Fountain of Life, and your Clay Salvation that have a longer cooldown, you could just drop healing touch and then pop swift healing. And look how much that is. That's a lot that you just dished out really quick, right? Another good healing combo is this. So Nature's Blessing, remember what I told you, when you have Nature's Blessing and then you apply any heal, it increases the regeneration. Let me give you guys a really good example. Let me jump off a cliff or something. All right, well, whatever, we failed successfully. So you see how my health is really low? Watch this. Apply Nature's Blessing and then do Flash Wave, and you see that how quickly that went up. The health regeneration on that is absolutely insane. And then as long as you have Nature's Blessing on, I think it only lasts 4 seconds. So as soon as you use Nature's Blessing, you want to throw out heals. It doesn't matter whether it's this one, the AoE heal, it doesn't matter whether it's that one, your other AoE heal, and it doesn't matter if it's Flash Wave or even this one. At the end of the day, your team is going to love you and you're going to keep everybody alive. So there's not really, too much to go into, if I'm being completely honest. Really, just make sure that, if you copy what I'm doing, you'll be fine. But at the end of the day, you want to just make sure that you're not focused 100% on trying to damage people. If you guys are in a boss fight, there's no reason why you should be popping all of your damage abilities, right? You want to preserve mana. You want to do damage where you can. If people's health are low, go ahead and make sure that you're focusing on keeping people alive. Don't worry about doing damage. Do damage as a secondary. Keep your team alive. That is your primary job. Let DPS do DPS. Keep your tank good. Keep your tank safe. And you will always get into parties. People will always want to invite you. But with that said, man, I've been having a blast playing Throne and Liberty. Throne and Liberty is probably one of the most fun MMOs I've played in a while. Lots of cool things that are going on in this game. The community is pretty interesting. People are cool. Guilds are fun. Dungeons are awesome. But for that said, I will be doing maybe more videos in the future. I appreciate you guys watching. If this guide helped you, longbow, wand users, or anybody that loves to heal, drop a comment, drop a subscribe, and let me know, man. But aside from that, you guys have yourselves a great rest of your afternoon. Keep your team alive. Much love